Hello, and welcome to another Capture the Flag edition of Daryl Show Your Work, episode 107 to be exact. All right, so in this episode, I wanted to focus specifically on the Meterpreter tool within the Metasploit framework, discuss exactly what it is, to show some different things that could be done with it. But before I start, but since this is a post exploitation tool, I do want to give my usual preface to this video. Where anytime I do any sort of offensive security or a red teaming activity, I want to just say that this is for ethical research and educational purposes only. Any sort of malicious actions they may directly or indirectly come from someone watching this video, I do not take responsibility for, nor do I condone. All right. So as I just stated, Meterpreter is a post exploitation tool. And when I say post exploitation, think in terms of local enumeration of our target host, privilege escalation, dumping hashes, establishing persistence on our target host, clearing our tracks, and pivoting to other areas of the network. All right. So that's what I mean by post exploitation activities, and that's specifically what Meterpreter, tends to be used for. So, to give a high level definition of what Meterpreter actually is, it's an advanced multifunctional payload that operates via the DDL injection and is executed in the memory of a target host, making it hard to detect. So, by communicating over the stager socket, it provides an attacker with the interactive command interpreter on the target host that facilitates the execution of system commands, i.e., why it's called Meterpreter as an interpreter. All right, so I just want to show some different things that can be done with the Meterpreter tool. So I'm going to just dive right into this. And as usual, I have to do some discovery here for us to get to Meterpreter. All right, so I know exactly um, what addresses I'm dealing with. So first, I'm gonna find my address. So I'm gonna say ifconfig. All right, so I am on the Ethernet 1 interface. So my IP address is going to be 192.168.19.2. All right, so I'm going to copy that. All right, and next I'm going to do a fping to my local network here, so I can see what other machines are up and try to discover any sort of potential target hosts. So I am going to give it my CIDR address, but turn that into a 0, that 2 into a 0, then a /24. All right, so as usual, 1, 2, and 3 are up, 1 being the local gateway, which we don't want to bother, 2 being myself, and 3 being our target host. All right, so from here, I'm going to jump right into the Metasploit framework. So first, I have to start up the PostgresQL SQL. SQL database. All right. And then I'm going to combine that with the step to start up the MSF console. All right. All right. So as usual, I'm going to create a workspace for myself. So I'm going to say workspace -A, and we're going to call this Meterpreter, all caps. All right. And then I'm going to set my target host here as a global parameter, so I don't have to continue to set that up through the various modules that I may be using throughout this video. All right, so change that to a 3. All right, so that's going to be pre-rendered in all of our modules. All right, well, at least in this session. All right, and then let's see. I'm going to run an mmap scan on here just to see what protocols are running and open in which I can exploit just for us to be able to get a Meterpreter session. All right, so give it the target host again, and let's run that. And I'm running this nmap scan once again in the Metasploit framework just so it'll save the output here to the database, and anytime I want to query that, I can query it directly from within Metasploit. All right, so I see that port 80 and port 3306, which is SQL, is open. So let's pay a visit to that since it's port 80, that's indicative that it's running some sort of web service. So I'm gonna go to my browser. Let's see what's being hosted there. All right, so I'm gonna change this to a 3. All right, so while I don't have any login credentials, I am given some information here which I can enumerate, which is XODA. All right, so that tells me that this is a type of web application that's being hosted on this web server. So that lets me know that, hey, maybe I can find a tool that specifically targets this specific type of web application. All right. So let's see. I can search. Let's search for specifically for XODA and see what we find. All right. So there's actually one tool available, and it's a file upload exploit module, which apparently this specific web application has a PHP file upload vulnerability. So I'm going to use the exploit module here to try to exploit that to gain entry into the our target host. So I'm going to say U0 to select the payload. Excuse me, I'm sorry, to select the module. All right. And then from here, let's say search options and see if there's anything I need to configure. Okay, that's not, I don't have to set that much. Hold on. Maybe I typed in the wrong thing. All right, let's see. Search options. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm not sure what I put in before. Okay, so one thing I could clearly see here, well, a couple of things I could see here is that one with the target URI. So it's just a design and thinking and with the thought that XODA is going to be hosted in a subdirectory, hence why we have this specific subdirectory set. However, we saw that XODA was being hosted at the root of the web server. All right, so I'm going to just take all this out here, all right, and just leave this slash here, which is indicative of it running on the root directory within the web server, and that should go straight for where the XODA application is being hosted. Also, I need to change my LHOST to my specific IP address here. All right, so first things first, I'm going to set the target URI to simply to this, and that's equivalent to root. All right, and then I'm going to set the LHOST to my IP address. So let's just paste this right here. All right, so everything should be good to go. So let's see. Hopefully this will give me a Meterpreter session. So then we could dive into some different type of Meterpreter commands here. So it looks like Meterpreter session has been open. Wait for that to load up for us. All right. So I'm gonna just go through, the simple enumeration stuff. So of course we have sysinfo just to do some basic enumeration of the system we're connected to. You can see here that we have some information about the computer name, about the kernel. Okay, and then we can see it's giving me information about my interpreter session. Not then we can see that it's running what type of architecture is running here. All right. And then let's see, get UID to see who I'm logged in as, and also my level of permissions. All right, so www data, that makes sense since this is a web server. All right, and so then anytime we want to get a full list of commands that could be ran with Meterpreter, we can just simply type in help, and that's going to give us this a full list of different things, different type of commands that we could run with Meterpreter. So I think I showed this in a previous video. So, but if we want to leave Meterpreter running, but want to jump back to the MSF console, I would just simply either type background, okay, or do a Control Z, and it'll background the Meterpreter process, and then I can simply say sessions, and it'll show me all my active sessions. All right, and then it'll show me you know who I'm logged in as. It'll show me my IP address, what port I'm using to connect, and then the target host address and the port I'm connected to on that host. And it'll tell me the connection type, which here is a Meterpreter, and of course the ID of the session that I'm running. All right, so also, if I want to get, let's say I want to know while within the MSF console, if I want to run certain switches, with sessions, any sort of enumeration I could do with sessions, this gives me a list of different switches that I could run with sessions. All right, so let's say that um, I want this to view the system information without having to jump back into the Meterpreter session. All right. So instead of going into the Meterpreter and doing sysinfo, let's say I want to see that same information here from the MSF console. All right. On this specific session, I would just say sessions dash capital C. Then I put the sysinfo here. All right. Then I say dash I, and now I tell it one for session one. So after the dash I is where I specify which session I wanna know this information for. So I'm gonna hit enter. All right, see, and it gives me that same information that we saw when I was in my Meterpreter session. All right. So next, if I could just show you, I'm not going to do it, but if we wanted to jump back into that session, I could say sessions one, and it'll jump me back. It'll take me right back into that Meterpreter session. All right. So I'm gonna stay here in MSF console, but I've shown that in previous videos, but I just wanted to bring it up again since we're on the subject of Meterpreter commands. Now, if I want to kill a specific session without killing all my active sessions, let's say that I had, let's say, three different sessions of Meterpreter going here, right? So I could say something like sessions dash lowercase k and one. So this would kill my current Meterpreter session, all right? So since we only have one running, okay, this would kill session one, which is the only one I have running here, all right? So let's say that if another way that I could view my active sessions here, I could say sessions dash L to list my active sessions, and it works the same as if I just wrote sessions by itself. All right, so another way we could do that. Let's say that I wanted to name. Let's say I wanted to name my session. All right, so I'm gonna say sessions dash lowercase n, and let's say I want to name this session XODA. All right, and I'm gonna say dash I to name session one XODA. All right, so now when I do a sessions L again, now it has the name. If we look here next to the session ID, now it actually has the name XODA. All right, so next, I'm gonna show some different type of interpreter commands that we can do by doing a flag challenge. All right. So remember, this is a capture the flag edition. So I'm gonna capture a few flags to just show some different tricks that we could do with Meterpreter. All right. So in order to do that, I'm gonna jump back into my Meterpreter session here by saying sessions one. All right. So I'm back in Meterpreter. I'm gonna do a list command. Well, let me see. Let me see. So no entries exist in app. All right. So it appears to be no entries left in there. Let me make sure I am in there. Let's see, app files. Okay, I am in app files. So I'm gonna move back to move back a directory. So let's say I want to come out of files. I could just say cd dot dot, which is which is I believe a Linux and a Windows command to go back a directory. All right, so I should be in the apps folder now. All right, so I am. So we can see here that we have a few flags here. All right, so here's flag one. So if I wanted to see the contents of flag one, I could simply say cat flag one. All right, and it's going to display the contents of that. Now another way I could say see the contents of flag one is I could just say edit flag one, and the text editor will bring me into there. All right, so let's see, let's do a uh, let's see, I'm not sure. I pressed something I shouldn't have pressed here. Let's see. Okay, all right, let me jump back into there. I think I pressed something I shouldn't have pressed. All right, so MS console. And it's going to jump us back into there. Don't know what happened there. Let me see. Increase this for us. All right, and then let's see. Workspace. Oops. There we go. All right, back in the Meterpreter workspace. Okay, well, we could just run everything. Let's see, I could just get us back into there. Okay, let's see. All right, so set target URI to root. All right, and set LHOST back to my IP address. Right, and let's run that to get our interpreter session back. All right, I have to set that again. All right, so let's set our RHOST back to, I gotta give that an S. All right. All right, now let's run it. There we go. All right, sorry about that hiccup there. All right, so just going back to where we were before, make sure we're in that same directory. D. All right, good. All right, so go back to the app. All right, and then let's see. Let's list that out. All right. So those are ways that we could obtain. We could either read the inside of a file or edit the file. All right. So let's say we see something here called secret files. All right. So that's a directory. So in order to change directories here, I'm going to say secret files, and that should throw me. That should throw me into that directory. All right, so let's list out the contents of that. All right, so we can see flag 2. All right, so in order to see what's inside of flag 2, say dot flag 2. All right, and that's the contents of flag 2. So I got 2 flags here, and it looks like there was one other one that I need to get. So I'm gonna go back a folder here, back into apps. All right, and then it looks like there was a flag .zip. So all right, so here's some things we could do when dealing with a zip file. So first, I need to download it to my local directory here on my Kali Linux machine. All right, from the target host. So in order to do that, I'm gonna just simply say download flag 5.zip. Give it the file name. All right, and this should download to my local directory, which it looks like it has. All right, and let me see. See, I wouldn't be able to see that here, would I? No, I wouldn't. Okay, so I need to go back. Let's see. Let's exit out of here. And I'm going to do a control Z this time to background the process. All right, now let's see. Let's check my local directory here. And we can see flag.zip. All right. So in order to unzip that file, say flag. It's lowercase. All right. Flag 5.zip. All right. This should unzip it for me. All right, and the password is, let's see, I believe it's, all right. Okay, so it looked like it extracted something, another file called list. So let's take a look at that. All right, so let's check out my local directory, make sure that list is in there. All right, list is in there right next to flag 5.zip. All right, so let's cat list. All right, it says MD hash of bin bash. All right, so it's telling me that the last flag here is actually the MD5 hash of the bin bash file. All right, so I am going to jump back in to Meterpreter here. All right, and I am going to try to find that bin bash file. All right, so I'm gonna say in order to see if I could find that specific MD5 hash, I'm gonna say checksum MD5, and we're looking for bin. Hold on, as soon as my machine catches up with me here, bin bash. All right, and there's the last flag, the MD5 hash of the bin bash file. Okay, so those are the flags. So just a couple of other commands that we could run here. So let's say if I wanted to search the user bin directory for any file containing the term backdoor. All right, I could do a search D for directory, and then I want to search user, and then I said bin, and I want to look for anything. I'm gonna give it a wild card, anything called backdoor wild card. All right, and it did actually find a file within um, a user bin backdoor. So this could be something that if we were red teaming, that we can ensure if we had like a payload, we want to make sure that a payload was located where we had put it. We could either use this command for that, or if we're blue team or the defenders, if we wanted to look for any sort of malicious any sort of malicious file, whether we know the name or we want to look for a term that may be indicative of something malicious, this will help us to be able to locate that within specific directories. All right, so let's say I want to search our current working directory for any file within with a JPEG format. All right, I could say search, and then any for any, I'm gonna give it a wildcard JPEG. Okay, so this is going to look for any file within my local directory that's in a .jpeg format. So we have none matching there. So let's say I wanted to find some that was in a PHP format. All right, so we found five different files within my current working directory that has a PHP PHP extension. Okay, so so I'm going to jump in now. I'm going to do a shell, all right, to jump into the machine. Again, what a shell does, it basically it starts up the native Linux terminal session, or in terms of if we're dealing with a Windows session or Windows system, it would be using the Windows CMD prompt. All right. So I'm going to do a ls here, see what's in. All right, so we can see that we can see these same files doing the ls command within shell. All right, and then let's say I wanted to start a bin bash session here. I want to use bash. All right, so I'm gonna say bin/bash dash I to initiate. All right, now I have a bash session going. So if I wanted to see like the process tree, meaning I want to see all active processes running right now, I'm gonna say ps. Okay, hold on. Okay, yeah, here's a process tree. Just used to looking a little different here, but so it shows us the um the um the process ID, and we have quite a few different Apache processes running along with some shell process, and we can see the bash process that we're running, and also the PS, the process tree that we're running too, so we can see those specific processes running. All right. So I'm going to terminate this shell. I'm going to say Control C to terminate it. I'm going to say, yes, I do want to terminate it. All right. So some other little things that we could do here in Meterpreter, if I wanted to make a directory, is very similar to the way we do it in Linux. Is make dir. Let's say I want to make a directory called test. All right. So make dir test. I'm going to do an ls command. And if we look down third from last right here, we can see that new directory here, test directory. All right. And let's see, and that should bring me to, and okay, yeah, if I let's say also I want to show how we can remove a directory too. So let's remove test. So rmdr and then give it the directory name. All right, so that directory should be gone now. So I'll do a list again, ls. All right, and now that test directory is gone, and that's an example of how we can clear our tracks if we're doing any sort of pen testing or doing any sort of ethical intrusion. Okay, one that we have rules of engagement for. We can cover our tracks by any sort of directories we may have created to launch an attack, or that we may have needed throughout the process of what we're doing. We could cover our tracks by deleting, but by after making those directories, we could quickly delete those directories as well. All right, so this brings me to the end of my video. I just wanted to dive into Meterpreter since I've covered it a lot in previous videos, but never really specifically done a video specifically on what it is, what it's used for, given its background. I just wanted to focus on some Meterpreter based commands that we could do. And in my next video, what I'm going to focus on is some modules that we can run, and I'll be using Meterpreter a lot in that. So until then, please like, subscribe, and share. Most importantly, show your work. Until next time, take care of yourself, and God bless.